Welcome to one of our recently completed projects. This is our Riverside project. Come and have a look at the house and the systems we've installed. First of all, you'll see here we've got a Control4 touchscreen. Control4 is the overarching control system in this property, integrating all of the different technologies, making it really simple for the client to use. So there's a few touchscreens like these dotted around the property, and the main focus when we first spoke to the client was integrating security. The reason being, this is a second property, a second home for them, but also there are a couple of rental properties on the same plot. So being able to remotely access the property from a security point of view was key. So we've got integrated cameras around the property so they can keep an eye on it when they're not here. Intercom as well, and control over the front gates. There's a pedestrian gate but also vehicle gates that they can control remotely. They can also then provide access to those renting some of the rental properties when they're not here. So in addition to security, we've also integrated Lutron lighting and blinds throughout the property. Let me show you into one of the bedrooms to demonstrate. So throughout the property, we've integrated the lighting and the blinds and given them simple control using the lighting keypads on the wall. And then we have other keypads as well, either side of the bed, to give similar controls for the client over the lights and the blinds. As you can see here, we've got Venetian fabric blinds integrated into the system. So they have the tilt functionality and also open and close, either via the keypads or at set times throughout the day and night. One key element that the client really enjoys is the fact that at sunset every evening, the blinds close and the tilt function closes as well. So in addition to these two bedrooms, there's one other space down here, which was originally going to be a secondary living area. Let me show you what we've done with it. So this room on the plans when we originally got sent them was a secondary living area, and the clients didn't really know what they wanted to do with the space. But when they visited our showroom and experienced our cinema, they were wondering if they could fit that within this room. So with some clever design with our partners at Cinema Lux, we were able to create this room, give them a tranquil space, but also an immersive experience when they're watching movies. With a projector and a screen to hide the speakers at the front of the room and fabric panels at the back to also hide the speakers, it means that you can have a fully immersive experience but without seeing any of the technology. And with some of the nice finishes at the front here as well, it really does make this space something more than it was originally going to be. Now let me go and show you another fantastic part of this property. So as you can see, this room really has the wow factor, especially with the views. So we had to make sure that we didn't take over the room with all of the technology that we have integrated in here. So first of all, on the windows, we have more blinds and also integrated lighting. We see them as part of the same lighting design. So Chai, our in-house lighting designer, created the design for this property, but we always take into consideration the natural light as well as the artificial light. You need to be able to control both. So that's integrated within this area as well. Then we go through to the main living space. We had to integrate TV and audio within this area, but again, without it really being on show. So the client chose picture frame TV. However, in order for it to look like a picture frame, it needs to be mounted quite high on the wall. That's not great when watching TV, so we needed to put an integrated motorized lift within the wall in order to lower it to an optimal viewing position for when they're sat in the living area. Integrated soundbar underneath and also a subwoofer built into the cabinetry over here to give them some bass sound, especially when listening to music in this area. Then we go through to the kitchen space. We have another picture frame TV here, again, so that it doesn't appear as if they've got a TV on the wall when it's not in use. Another soundbar. We needed more bass in this area as well, but we didn't have space for a subwoofer, so there is an invisible sub plastered into the wall underneath, so that when they put the music on in this area, it's nice and immersive, easy to listen to when they're entertaining. But now let me show you the most important room to us in this house. So here we are in arguably the most important room in the house for us, the plant room. So in here there's lots of consideration that needs to go into where equipment goes, because there are lots of other trades to speak to and work with in terms of figuring out who's going to go where. As you can see here, we've got a large equipment rack. This contains all of the central equipment that relates to the different systems we have in the property. Anything from networking to video control to amps for the speakers in the cinema to the CCTV controls. It's all housed here. This is pre-built in our workshop, but it's all pre-planned as to where it's going to go before it comes to site. Then on the wall behind, we have patch panels that relate to all of the network connections throughout the property. This needs to be serviceable, so we have to take into consideration that it needs to be moved out and the back accessible so that the guys can maintain it in the future. So that's had to fit in alongside all of the other services you can see within the room. And then over on this wall, we've had to use this space here for our lighting panels. So this is where all of the dimmer modules for the lighting throughout the property is housed. And next to that, we have blind control panels as well. So lots of equipment that we need to squeeze into these rooms. The last consideration for a room like this is cooling, or at least extraction. This room gets hot, and that can damage equipment over time. So we need to be able to get the heat out of here, or even provide cooling in the room if possible.